Hello, beloveds. Let's see who's here. Okay, great. Hi, Jessica, driving for a few. Come on in, y'all. I see a handful of you guys here. Today is an offer clinic where we're going to continue our focus and continue to sort of go from being the light to being the laser. All right, let me just check and make sure that you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? I'd love to hear that you can hear me before I can continue to break it down, because y'all know how I am prone to do. If you can hear me, tell me you can hear me in the chat. And I know, Jessica, you're driving. Emily's here. Hey, Emily, can you hear me? I would like to just check in on that. Okay, great. So Laura is here. She says she can hear me. Emily's here. She says she can hear me. I think Jessica can hear us. I'm just going to kind of begin because we have several, we have a fair amount of material to cover. What I'm kind of going to do today is start to preview for you. I'm going to give you a new mental model for what we're doing when we're bringing new customers in. Okay, to our empire, ultimately to our empire offer, or to your upsell offer. Now, one thing that I wanted to chat with you about first, I wanted to share this email. I wanted to share this email that I got it yesterday from Christy Inge, who is one of my favorite human design teachers. And this email has made it around my entire circle very recently, in the last 24 hours since she sent it. The subject line was the only reason you take misaligned action. Only reason you take misaligned action. And maybe I'll even forward the whole email around, but I thought it was worth us I'll read it to you now, and I wanted to discuss a couple of points about it, because often what happens when we're in this moment of focus, right now, what's happening for all of us in this room, in this moment of focus, is most of us are making a concerted effort to do something different than we've done before. And many of us are making a concerted effort to do something different, do something we may have been avoiding doing before for whatever reason. All right. Maybe it's being more visible on YouTube. Maybe it's doing ads. Maybe it's even the kind of decisions that you will make in the process of doing ads. You could make a decision to do ads that are less direct. You could make a decision to do ads that are very direct. And all of these moments have the potential to bring up shit, to bring up stuff, to bring up resistance, to bring up avoidance. So she begins, and I've had a really powerful sort of week or two of seeing what I avoid and sort of loving back online the shadow parts of myself that were avoiding it. And by shadow parts, I just mean the parts of myself that, I was pushing down or not paying attention to, or just even narratives, shadow narratives that were deep buried within, underlying why I wasn't doing what it is that I desire to do. So here she says, do you ever have moments when you know exactly what the right thing to do is, but no matter how hard you try, you just can't? When you have something to say that might trigger people, so you stay silent. Or when a potential client asks for a discount and you just cave in because you need the sale. Or when you love the idea of a specific marketing strategy, but something inside you won't let you take action. Knowing when to navigate those moments with integrity, and I say integrity means wholeness, without fear, without shame, without guilt taking you out of the game, is the number one skill for creating wild success. But most people do one of these three things. One, they give up entirely. They tell themselves something is wrong with them, that they're not cut out for it, or it's just not meant to be for them. This leads to repetitive cycles of taking one step forward and two steps back, or quitting altogether. Two, they use willpower to push through. You ignore what the moment is offering to you and your future self. You ignore what the moment is offering to you and your future self. So catch that. Those moments where you see your own resistance, you see your own avoidance, you see your own, you see your own knowing what you need to do and just not being able to do it quite the right way. You see that, and that moment is always an invitation to you now and you future to do something different, to open a portal, to disrupt the story, the narrative you've been telling yourself, to love something in yourself back online. But instead, we ignore what the moment is offering to us, and we make ourselves just push through and do it based on adrenaline. We literally use our muscle tension to push through. We armor up and just do it anyway. Okay. This leads to burnout because you're relying on an unreliable and unsustainable energy source, which is why we were talking a couple weeks ago, right, about what happens when we set down the need to push through adrenaline and cortisol, and instead decide to tap into that power source, the life force within you, the erotic, as Audre Lorde called it. Now, she says, when you push through and just make it happen, and that is a tendency, I will tell you right now, when we start working on things like ads, there is this tendency for us to go from totally avoiding it to just being like, I'm just going to push through and get this done really fast in like this adrenalized way. This is not what we're going to do, guys. Okay. That leads to burnout because you're relying on an unreliable and unsustainable energy source. And at some point, that kind of energy just stops being there. That's been my experience. I no longer possess the physical capacity to adrenalize my way through things. So we have to actually just find the integrity way to do it, to tap into that life force within, because there's just I don't have that anymore. The cortisol just pushed through away is not available to me anymore physically. And this is a big one. 3, so the first one was things people do is they give up entirely, tell themselves something's wrong for them, quit the game entirely, or they just keep like going forward, going back, going forward, going back. 2, they just push through with adrenaline and burn out, or at some point they just can't even do that anymore. Or 3, they try to shuffle circumstances to avoid encountering these types of situations entirely. So maybe we aim for a business model where we never have to do ads, or we change the terms of our service agreement, or worse, she says, you use systems like human design or astrology to convince yourself that the misaligned decision is the right thing because of this or that in your chart. And this leaves you chasing your tail when similar shit happens, even though the circumstances have changed. Okay. She says, in all of these cases, it won't work because the ego is driving the bus. A fragile sense of self is doing everything it can to avoid confronting the actual opportunity that lies before you. Okay, the small self is overriding the soul self. The good news is that there's a solution that doesn't require an ounce of willpower. It creates more alignment in the moment, not less. More opportunity and expansion, activates higher potentials and wider containers of expression. What's the solution? This solution is using these moments in time where there's something you desire to do and you are not able to make yourself do it, using these moments as signs that you are rejecting parts of yourself, the very parts that have the energy you need to take the aligned action. Okay, guys, this is true if what you're resisting doing is teaching your next Spark session. This is true if what you're resisting doing, and I'm going to say this is going to be for a lot of us, if what we're resisting doing, we all know that we need to get super crisp, bold, and powerful in our UDO, in our hook, initial irresistible hook statement about what it is that we do. Okay. And many of us here have some in here resistance to being as clear, plain spoken, and bold as we need to be in our hook statement. Okay. I am inviting you in this moment in time to look at this as a sign that you may be rejecting some part of yourself that possesses the exact energy you need to get into alignment and make your hook statement, your UDO statement, all of your, your sales page, all of your marketing content as clear, crisp, and bold as you're gonna need it to be to bring in people when you're marketing people who don't know you. Okay. The answer is to see these moments as a sign that there's some part of yourself you're rejecting, to connect with the essential energy that is hidden in that part, to love it with a pure heart, and then allow it to do what needs to be done. So here are some examples she gives, and then I'll see if I can give one or two that's really specific to us. Okay. So say you're a marketer and you stay quiet. You don't build a big personal brand because you're afraid of triggering people. That person might need to find the part of them that fears being seen as mean. The one who gives an inauthentic discount might need to find the part that could be seen as greedy. The one who doesn't try the ad strategy or the marketing strategy or the sales strategy, the one who doesn't state very clearly and boldly in a handful of words what their UDO is, might need to find the part that could be seen as salesy or manipulative. Okay. And I mean, if you really want to even go deeper, because I did myself, it's like under salesy or manipulative, it's like that part, I didn't like, what if people see me as needing money? Right? What if people see me as poor? What if people see me as dependent or as needy, as needing them? What if people see me as greedy, as crazy, as arrogant, as irresponsible, as blasphemous, as not successful? What if people see me as a liar? It could be seen as a liar, right? You got to find those parts of yourself that are not on board because they're afraid of something, or you're shoving them down because you don't want to be seen a certain way. And once you find that part of you, you gotta, she says, stop dousing it in shame. Love it. Get to know it with interest and curiosity and compassion. Come to understand its essential energy in all the ways it can be used, not just the ways that you've been labeling bad or wrong or unworthy. So we buy things from people all the time online who are actively being salesy. But when we have that, we want to have a successful business, but we don't want to be seen as salesy because we don't want to be seen as needing people or needing money or whatever, manipulative or whatever. We've labeled those things bad, wrong, and unworthy, but those aren't the only ways. Being a great salesperson can also mean many other things. It can mean you're on purpose. It can mean you're on fire. It can mean you want to uplift people. It can mean all of these other things. So we have to stop just letting our inner critic tell the bad, wrong, unworthy part of the story, and love it all. Love it back online. All right. She says the truth is all energy is neutral. The only thing that ever changes is the direction, the intensity, and the label we give the direction. The water that nourishes your roses is the same water that puts out a house fire. But if you try to put out a house fire with a watering can, you would label that stupid, idiotic, dumb. If you tried to water your roses with a fire hose, you would call that destructive, too much, insensitive. But it was only ever water. The only thing that changed was the direction and the intensity. So like I said, you could, if we're going to talk about like being salesy is the thing you don't want to be seen as, well, you could label salesy manipulative, poor, desperate, needy, dependent, or you could label it empire building, someone who is trying to flow divine order and uplift people for the benefit of all, someone who's trying to model appropriate energy exchanges, someone who's just trying to be the paid priestess they came here to be, right? It was only ever salesy. The only thing that changed was the direction and the intensity, the label we give it. Okay. And what she says is true when she closes with, when you bring all of you into the fold and direct it with soulful intention, the energy to do the aligned thing is just there, ready and willing and able to say what you need to say, to stand in your price, to experiment with the marketing the way you need to experiment with the marketing. Okay? Because from that place of wholeness, the energy flows. The water can just be water, sales can just be sales, and can be used in a myriad of ways, flowing toward alignment with precise intensity, tone, and timbre, moving freely. Okay? Now, the only thing that changed was the direction and intensity. That felt like a word for us right now. It just did. And I have seen how many times, how many ways in which we can do these really complex inner gyrations to kind of just keep ourselves from seeing all of the fears of, this part of me could be seen as this part, because we see it that way. Most people don't. Think of the people who do great sales in the online business. That you have bought stuff from. Do you think, oh, salesy manipulator? No, you're like, oh my gosh, I need that. Maybe we need to tell that story as we come into this season of focusing on bringing new people in. It's like we're creating something they really need, right? All right, so now this is us beginning our focus. I want us to take it step by step, because with all of that we just talked about, what I saw when I went deep into this stuff was that a lot of the stories, a lot of the inner critic stories that were coming up, where my inner critic was saying, this part of you could be seen this way. A lot of times this way it could be seen story was rooted to something like old, something like in my childhood, in my family of origin, there was a certain way we were taught to never be. The worst thing you could be would be to be that. And that showed up a lot in the ways, in the labels I was putting on these ways I could be seen as, on my shadow parts. So because that stuff is so old and it's so immovable, it's not immovable, but it feels immovable. It's definitely not immovable. In fact, the reason you're here right now in this program, in this business that you have right now, is to move some of this stuff. This is how our businesses benefit us a lot. When you have these like old childhood stories and narratives that are often intertwined with some other like dark bullshit or like core wounding that you have experienced, it's not always the case that your nervous system is just like ready to like erase the board in one moment. So that's part of why in Empires we take these projects as step-by-step projects. We bite off a chunk and do it this week. And then we'll bite off another chunk and do that next week. That's also just a really important way for you to understand how successful things are marketed in the world. In the world of marketing, it's usually not the case that someone does this really up all night, midnight Hail Mary thing, and then the next day they sell 1 million of it and then they just go take a nap. That's actually not how it works. It's always somebody kind of methodically having this bigger vision for a way that you can market and sell this thing, and then breaking it into chunks, and then starting with chunk 1 and doing what you got to do until chunk 1 works, and then starting with chunk 2 and focusing on that and messing with that until that works, right? So that's kind of how it works. It's building blocks, all right? It's not all in one swoop. So we're going to take it step by step. We're going to do it together, but I do want you to kind of keep in mind this idea that as we do these step-by-step projects of getting new customers to see your offer, to understand your offer, to come into your offer, to buy your offer, as we start doing this, any time that you have that feeling of like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing next, I can't seem to make myself do it, I can't seem to take this aligned action, or I'm taking some contorted version of it, I want you to see every time you experience that as an opportunity and an invitation to get really still and quiet and see what part of yourself you're like shoving down, rejecting, divorcing, silencing, avoiding. And why? What's that story behind that? That part of you could be seen as what? And then you get to change the direction and you get to change the intensity in the direction of aligned action. Okay, so we're going to take it step by step because this stuff will come up and we're going to like love it back online. Love that part of you back online and watch. You will find, oh, now the energy is just here. Doesn't mean it's going to be easier or overnight, but the energy is here and available to you to use to do something that wasn't before. Okay, so today I had 3 people submit their avatar and offer. Well, I had 3 people submit their offers. I'll just talk to you in turn about like, did you do the immersion, like all the stuff. I really want to take a moment and like, we want to get back to, so like next week, I'm going to drop some content for you that starts the process of getting you prepared to running ads. When you are running ads, the way we're going to do ads, this is like people who do not, actually, let me show you a graphic to explain what we're doing here. Okay, so this graphic comes from these guys, Anthony Gallo, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they gave me the graphic. So I'm like, going to show it to you because I love it. I think it's this, but I'm just like trying to give credit where credit's due because I didn't make this graphic, but I love this graphic. So this is what we're doing. This is like the name of the game. I want to just like make sure we're all on the same page about what the exercise is that's before us over the next, let's say 3 months. Okay. We are, can you guys see this? Let me just check. Yes, you guys can see this. Okay, great. Right. Okay, so you can see it. Here's the essence of what we're doing. We're going to take a bunch of people who are strangers who have no intention to buy anything from you. That's what's on the left. And we're going to cultivate and conversate and educate and inspire them to become people who do know who you are and who do believe that they can get where they want to be and who are ready to buy from you right now because they believe that they don't just believe that they can do it, they believe that they can do it with your empire offer. Okay. So we're going to take people who do not know you, do not know anything about what you do, and do not plan to buy from you anything right now. And we're going to cause them to be people, we're going to influence them significantly to become people who do know who you are, who do know about your empire offer, and who do believe that they can create the UDO of their dreams with your empire offer as a solution. Okay, does that land? Yes. Okay. Yes. I think I'm seeing maybe yeses to me just asking if you can see the diagram. Does this land? Does this make sense for you guys? Okay. And so what we start with, this is not different from what we've been doing in empires. It's a little bit different vocabulary. And these guys made a really good graphic because they do that. I'm not as much making the graphics person, although we're going to work on that. But this is not different than what we've been talking about. When you see here, use your irresistible hook, that is your UDO. When you see pain points, limiting beliefs, positive beliefs, this is what we're talking about here is like your pillars, your path. Remember your pain to bliss, right? Pain to bliss. And then your pillars in your path for your model, your framework. That's what this middle part is: increase pain points, decrease limiting beliefs, increase positive beliefs. This is how are you cultivating these people's belief that they can get to where they want to be with you and your method. You are making sure that you are naming their pain points so that they understand that you're, usually we're naming them in the terms of like without or constraints, or you're naming the opposite, which is the same as naming it. And then you're decreasing their limiting beliefs, their I can't, with every step as you're like, here's how we do it. Here's what the pillars are. Here's what the 3 ingredients of this actually are. Look, I've already thought through this entire path. You're going to, through that process, you are decreasing limiting beliefs and increasing their positive beliefs that they can do it. Now, because these people are cold, it hits a little bit different. There are other tools that you can and we will use to decrease their limiting beliefs and increase their positive beliefs. Okay. We will decrease their, and I'll actually give you like an outline in just a minute. We'll talk all the way through it. Let's see if we want to see anything about this. Yes. From not ready to buy to ready to buy. That's where you're trying to get them from and to. In basically all of our marketing materials, but very specifically in your sales page, in your sales video, which we'll be talking about, those things are designed to get them from not ready to buy to ready to buy. And all we're doing in between is like naming or otherwise addressing is a better word to say that. Addressing their pain, reducing their belief that things can't be different, and casting a powerful vision that's the opposite of their pain does begin to do that. And then we're installing their very positive beliefs that they can get there. And all the way through, when this says emphasize results continuously, what they mean is you're naming their UDO, you're naming their dream outcome over and over and over and over and over again, but it has to be in this really bold hook, clear, third grade can understand, 10-year-old can understand, tangible way. All right. Okay. So what we're going to do, so next week, I will be dropping you some material to get you started on the first piece of what we'll need for ads. And basically, let me share this. Ads is going to look like this. There's only really a few projects. I know ads sounds like, oh God, horrifying, so much money, terrible. Okay. We're just going to let that part within us, that's actually the part that's like, I could be seen as manipulative or, a rich bitch or poor and I need money or a liar. We're going to love those parts back online and stop telling that story that ads is like inherently terrible. What we actually need for ads are these things. You need an ad. You need an ad. You need, and I'm going to say, let's start with some short video content for your ad because that's really working right now. If you wanted to start with short static content, we can do that too. But that's what we need. We need an ad. We need the ad to go to a sales page. Okay. Not just your offer doc, an actual designed sales page because these are cold people. We will want that sales page to have a short video at the top of that sales page. And that video we're going to call a Spark video because it's basically like a microcosm of your Spark session. Okay. It's like a little micro version of your Spark session, does a lot of the same things that your Spark session did. But it's evergreen. It's just a video. And then we need that sales page to click through to a thank you page. I'm going to take out purchase page. There is a version of this funnel that you can do that, like on the sales page, you just capture their email, and that clicks through to a thank you page. I'm sorry, that clicks through to a checkout page. The reason, if you know what I'm talking about, sometimes you'll see a landing page that has just your email address and name form. You have to fill that out, and then it gives you a separate checkout page. The reason that people do that is that a lot of, in any funnel, no matter how good it is, and a funnel is just the series of pages that take you from stranger to customer. In any funnel, no matter how good it is, there are people who start the process of buying who do not finish the process of buying. Those people, we call that abandoning cart. They've abandoned their checkout cart. If you capture their name and email address in the first step and then have a second step checkout, you have the ability to do what we call abandoned cart campaigns. So you can actually like email those people and say, hey, you forgot something. Hey, you forgot to check out. That's why people do that two-step checkout. We're not going to do that at first. We're going to do an ad that goes to a sales page that is both the landing page that sells the offer, starts with your video, has all the sales and marketing content, and then it's going to have a checkout on that same exact page. For the sake of simplicity, you can always add an abandoned cart two-step if you want later. And then that's going to click through to your thank you page. Your thank you page can just be like, thank you for joining the X Club. Here, look for the, here are the instructions for how to access what you've paid for. Or your thank you page can also have an upsell on it. Your thank you page could invite them into a more expensive investment in working with you. That's it. Those are the assets we need to create. We just need to create them in a very intentional way based on the fact that these people are brand new to you, and they're going to take a little more than just hearing your model, your vision, your pillars, your path, and your inclusions. They're also going to want to, do you see this where it says dimensionalize? I'll explain more what that means in a bit, but you're going to want to include many different ways, many different dimensions of proving to them or helping them to increase their belief in the probability that they'll actually be successful. Okay, so we do that by sharing unique mechanism, which we already do. We do that with sharing your method, your pillars, your path, but we also can do that through the value stack. This is us like listing out exactly all the inclusions and giving them value and being a little more intentional about that than we were before, intentional about what we include in inclusions and what we include as bonuses and how we talk about them. The comparison stack is a thing where sometimes you'll want to compare. If you have different layers, it can be at different levels or tiers. You can be comparing. It can be the stack of you. I used to have an offer that had 3 levels, and we really only wanted people to enroll in the middle level. So sometimes the things that we actually put in the top and bottom level, we put there to make that middle level look really good. Okay. You can also compare your offer to other things that they might be spending money on, or how much value they could get if they did what they were supposed to do. So it makes it look like your offer value is really strong, and your offer value does need to be really strong. Testimonials really help to dimensionalize and help people increase their confidence that they could get their result with you. Case studies do too. Sometimes even just like research data points. Mutually agreed upon facts, right? Like things where we're like, well, we all know the DEI industry is gone. Okay, that's a given. And so, building your argument on top of these mutually agreed upon facts. Or like I have a video coming out that's like includes, Black women are the most they are like the most educated demographic in the United States, and they are technically the most underpaid demographic in the United States, like peer on peer, compared to a white man doing the same job. They're getting 46 cents on the dollar. Most people who are in that demographic are aware of that. That is a mutually agreed upon fact. Okay, so as we create this content for these 4 pieces of, it's really 4.5, make the Spark video. This is ad is a piece of content, sales landing page is a piece of content, the video is a piece of content, your thank you page is a piece of content. It's really 4 assets that we're going to develop in the next, let's call it a month. The number one most important one is this video, by far. Because remember, we talked about the 7-4-11 rule. It's the time they spend with you and the narrative, the arc, there's like there's a power and a credibility and a relatability that's just being in your energy, on top of your ability to, in a really short period of time, walk them through what they need to, walk them through some shifts, walk them through their mistakes, and tell the story of how your offer closes the gap that they're experiencing. You can do that in a 30-minute video. Many times people watch, some or most half of, or a tiny bit more of the video, and then they just start like trying to buy, especially in the price ranges that we're in. We're going to start with a video script. That's what we're going to start with next week. Okay. We're going to start with a video script next week. And then we're going to brainstorm it and then bring it down. But from what we create during the guided brainstorm, I'm going to give you a really specific outline. From what we create during the guided brainstorm, you will be able to pool, I predict you will be able to pool what you need for your ad content, for your video ad content, for your copy, for any emails you want to send, and for your landing page. My hypothesis is if we start with this project, the project of drafting this project will also include everything we need for the other content. Okay. So that's my intention. And what do you need to be able to start drafting this video? You need to know your offer is on point, and you need to know that you have an irresistible hook. And that irresistible hook, again, is just your UDO statement. And it's really stated for most of you, the ideal would be for it to be stated in this format: achieve X in Y. Achieve X and Y. Build your course or membership business. Build a 6-figure course or membership business in 90 days. Those guys I was talking about, Anthony Gallows, is like, learn filmmaking in, 14 days. Build this kind of thing in 30 days. They have a bunch of them, like in 90 days, whatever it is. So that's the level of boldness and crispness. And if that strikes horror in your heart, let me know. That's just a part that's like acting out a little bit because it's not getting the love it needs. So let's bring that back online. I know for many of us, we've been hiding in these castles of complexity, of complex, really intelligent language and words that 3rd graders don't understand, but we need to get your hook down to this, to achieve X in Y. So now we're going to take a look at the people's offers that came in. And I will tell you, achieve X and Y can be hard if what you're working from is your current offer document. But if you start from where I asked you to start from, which was that avatar and immersion document, if you do that first, this becomes dramatically easier. If you did all 4 tabs on the 4 R's exercise, this becomes, I will tell you, like me getting to a place where I can say, create a 6-figure course. I'm not even saying this is exactly it, but create a 6-figure course business in 90 days. Create a 6-figure course business in 90 days. How I got there was by creating my 70-page avatar document where I went through each question in turn. And then I completed all the tabs in that 4R's focus spreadsheet, including that last one, which has this differentiated statement, including the first one, which was like, what are the things that you've done in your career? Well, I've run a multi-six-figure course and membership business every year for the last 8 years. That's a thing that people want. That's a thing that I help people do, but that's not how I've ever talked about empires before. So I want us all to get to, it was all of that 4Rs document, the 4 tabs of it, and the avatar and immersion and the avatar and offer immersion exercise. I did all of those things to get down to this one super bold, super crisp, create a course business, 6-figure course business in 90 days. Okay. Does that make sense? Oh, it's really not even showing me. This strategy is to sell the offer straight from the ad. Yes. Yes, the idea is, yes, of course. Listen. Well, okay, let me go back to the top. Okay, Evelyn says, increasing their pain point. When they're saying increasing their pain point, they're meaning make sure that that you are talking about the same thing that they are talking about, the same pain that is like up for them. So we're not going to actually increase their pain point. But like when I say, hey, Black women are the most educated and the least and the most underpaid, that is like, my people have a problem with that. They are willing to like address that. And of course, then me, I'm like, I'm not really a woundologist. I'm not really going to flog and agitate that pain point a lot. But what I am going to do is use it as a jumping off point to talk about the UDO, the upgraded diametrical opposite of that pain point, right? Where I'm going to say, hey, I want you to stop even thinking about being underpaid. I want you to start thinking about the fact that you're under monetized. Under monetized is something you have total control over. Underpaid is like victim energy, you waiting on somebody to agree with you that you were something. Under monetized is like, girl, you possess stuff within you right now you can turn into assets and leverage into money. If you want to do that, come on. Okay, that's how but that is still all like it's pain point, it's pain to bliss. Think about that. We're not just agitating pain points, we're agitating the pain to bliss arc and reminding them that this is like this is an issue that already lives rent-free in your head. I'm not inspiring you to work on a subject, to do something on a subject you don't care about. I'm going to name and call out that this is an issue you already think about all the time, because people are absolutely not. We don't want to be motivating people to do something that they haven't been thinking they need to do. All right. We want to make sure that we are bringing our offer. Remember, we talked about that Venn diagram of a sweet spot, your deep magic. We're going to go walk into their part of the Venn diagram and be like, here is where you live in and thinking on this subject. I'm going to grab your hand and bring you with me into the upgraded diametrical opposite of that. But I got to meet you where you're at. Right. And that's why when I say the hook, your hook has to be the upgraded diametrical opposite of their exact pain point. It can't just be a thing that you think is cool and that you think they should want. You have to know what their pain point is first. And you have to make your hook be the opposite of that. All right. Yes, Emily, 2-step performs better. We're just not. We're going to start simple. We're going to not start with the thing where we got to send. Here's the thing. If we're not even building funnels at all, we don't need to start with a thing that adds abandoned cart as like a layer to what we got to build. So we're just going to start by getting started and making sure like our offer is selling, that it's working, the ad's working, and then we can add a layer of abandoned cart if we really need that. This strategy is to sell the main offer straight from the ad. We are not doing at the price points that everybody's ads are right now in this offer. We should be able to do that. And we're going to, this is us deciding that we get to have that too. Y'all, we're all out here buying other people's shit from these ads. There is something in this shadow of the profile of us that is saying that we don't Like, why do we not feel worthy of people buying our stuff direct from the ads? We buy other people's shit directly from their ads all the freaking time. All the freaking time. But you know what? We're only buying stuff directly from people's ads who felt like they were worthy of asking for that, inviting that. So yes, it does make sense to, there are many other things we can do. We can run an ad into your Spark session. We could run an ad into a 7-day sprint within your offer. We can do all kinds of other stuff, and maybe we will. But right now, I want us to build. The reality is, the 4 assets I'm asking you to build, you would need to build all of those things for those other campaigns anyway. So we're just going to be as direct as possible. And if we need to do something different, we will. But we're going to be as direct as possible. Okay. And yes, of course, we want something that requires more emails because we like emails. It's easy. It's not easy. We just like emails. They're fun. Okay. So I want to look at a few offers. Well, first, what I want to ask. Okay. So I'm going to bring Nick up first, and then we'll bring, I had Laura's up. Okay, Nick, let's do it. Get them all open. Okay, so Nick, let me see if I can share screen. Okay, Nick. So I actually think of the offer docs that I saw here, I did think this was a pretty great UDO. I think this word I don't love for cold. How can I actually get Nick to talk? This is the problem with doing these on YouTube. There's probably a way to do it. Let's see. I could probably... Let's just try it since it's just us. Nick, if you want to, try to click that link and see if I can get you on. And you don't have to. This is like me putting you on the spot. Okay, so, but let me walk through. So Nick, this is Nick's offer, the Career Club. Land the best job of your life in 6 months or less. Okay, so here's what I would say for cold, and I'm just going to make these edits because you guys see this is my own copy of her document. This is not her actual document. I will. Okay, I thought I heard you. Oh, Nick has joined. Great. Oh, this will be so cool if this actually works. I don't think it'll let me share screen and do this though. Hang on. Let's see. So there's, oh my gosh, look, it worked. Hi, Nick. But let's see, can we do it and share screen?
Hi.
Maybe. No. Yeah.
Okay. One sec.
What happens if I try to share it from this place? It just, no, I shouldn't do that. That's sad. All right. I'll have to figure that out. I hadn't even thought about trying to do that. I wish I had before. Let's see, maybe this. Add screen. What? Is that working? Oh, look at us. You guys are so amazing. Okay, so now we have the screen. We have Nick. We have Tara. It's all good. Okay, so Nick, I'm thinking for cold, I would rather this just say get the best job of your life in 6 months. And I would like us to eliminate optionality. Okay? Eliminate optionality, meaning no ors, no parentheses. Get the best job of your life in 6 months. The end.
Could it be less than 6 months?
No. I mean, is less than 6 months plausible? 90 days?
It's usually about 4 months.
Yeah, but that 4 months is great.
16 weeks.
Nope. Nope. 4 months is
17
great.
weeks.
Is it ever 3 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would put that. I would put 90 days or 3 months.
I think for the people who are in the for the people who are in my private inside, like the done with you private, 3 months.
Then I would say 6 months here, and I would put the done with you as your upsell on your thank you page with a separate video. And I would say that, like, because that's appropriate. That's one thing that we have to really be cautious about as we do these, is like, what you don't want is for your upsell to be like, now in order to actually get results, you got to buy this extra stuff. But what is appropriate is for your upsell to be like, if you want to get to your results faster, here is how people do it. The people who come into Career Club and get the best job of their lives in 90 days or less are the people who come into this, like, this done with you. Da, 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 da. Okay, so I really like, but this otherwise is good. Get the best job of your life in 6 months. I'm not going to super troubleshoot your entire. Did you do the avatar exercise, the immersion exercise?
Not yet.
Okay. Please do it. Please do it. If you could do it, before you start the work for next week, that would be great. And I recognize next week is Christmas. That's why we're not actually doing a live session. I'm just going to drop some content to you guys and trust that you'll have 2 or 3 hours during the week to find, or that you will snatch 2 or 3 hours during the week to go get yourself to the next step. Because what I don't want us to do is fully like comb through this offer doc, knowing that the next step we're doing is actually the prerequisites, like scripting out, brainstorming first, and then tightening up the ad video content. In the process, you will get everything you need for your sales page. But I did want to say this, and I saw that you asked a question about it. And it was helpful actually for me to ask a bunch of you guys to see these, because I saw some offer docs that I haven't seen in a while. And I think what happens is, like, as we're in it and we're like, we look at, you did your lunch dirty a year ago, and now you're like, you've looked at this 100 months in between, and you've made a lot of changes. We add a lot of stuff that we need to take back out because like this, nobody really wants this is still hook territory. You're still like meeting them in their part of the Venn diagram, and nobody wants the thing that they like really desire is not a strategic job search plan. Nobody wants a strategic job search plan that fits your strengths, your always changing schedule, and your season of life and capacity you are in right now. Nope. They do want great job. Like they do want. This is the thing that's kind of fun about like stuff for cold, is like, you just get to you got to bring it down, not in a way that's like insulting to people, but in a way that's like respectful of the fact that they are being bombarded by shit all the time. You just need to name exactly what's in their mind. And so like, there is an argument for like naming a pain, the experience that they're having that they don't love. And I see you kind of did some of that here. But I think here, like the pillars, and you asked a question that is like the perennial question, right? What's the difference between the pillars in your path? Okay. So Your pillars are like the ingredients of your UDO.
Okay, that makes sense now.
Right? It's like, what are if you had to say what 3 ingredients of the best job of your life are, that's really your pillars. Your path is actually, this should actually probably say, is like almost like your path. But it's like, you get great calls, you know, interview with confidence, and you get the job you love, including all of the stuff, the salary, the negotiation, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think this is the right moment in time for us to like pressure test, like parse all of that out. But I did want to name that a lot of the offers that I saw had a lot of stuff in them that had added over the year that we probably should strip out because it's just not hooky anymore.
It's not. You're right.
Like here, I was just like, probably that. Okay. So I'm not going to do that. That's the next thing. I wanted to name that about your hook, and I wanted to show that we're getting rid of optionality. We're getting rid of land for get. We're going plain language. And I am even this. This issue deserves to be named, even in this market, but not here. Okay. And so then let me take Laura's. Okay. Also, I love you.
Let me give advice to Laura before she joins, which is close all other windows before signing in because it gets wild. Okay.
Okay, let me actually just look and see what I'm doing here.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Thank you.
You're welcome, love. Okay, let's see. Laura, you can actually use the same. And then I can probably only do Laura. Emily, you and I will do yours together, and Jessica will either talk yours through in an hour, or we'll do it at some point together. But Laura, there's your link, love, in the chat. Programa Reina. And I think, okay, great. I think, here we go. Hey. Hi. We really are like doing I'm feeling like we're doing like very big things to get us all like online and showing this. So good. Okay. So I think, Laura, we have had this, I think we still have the same issue that we've had with yours, which is like, what's that hook? Achieve X in Y. What are they achieving or learning? Magnetic, confident, and sensually empowered selves. I think we should like actually really workshop this. I just don't think, when I say achieve X and Y, achieve in so many days or whatever. And it may or may not have to be days. It could be some other frame, but days is good. What is it that they're achieving? Magnetic power.
Yeah, here we always have this thing that is not is more a state of being more than an external product or result, or it's more
what is that state? Magnetic, confident, and sensually empowered. I think that your picture this points. I think that your picture this points probably give us clues because they are good. It's really power. Is it really power?
Yeah. The more I think about it, it always comes down to internal power or personal power.
Personal power.
In a feminine way, because I mix a lot of things of feminine energy, but yeah, it all comes down to power, because when you are more confident and more empowered in every way, yeah, I think it's all down to this. But how you say this, you will have more power. It's kind of intangible. In 90 days, for example, or 3 months.
Maybe we just say that. Maybe we just say that and still include these personal points. Helping 10 ambitious women transform into their most powerful selves in 90 days. What's their number one pain point?
I would say, because I'm doing it just from my point of view, because I don't have clients, so I can tell exactly what they say. But I would say it's the lack of confidence in themselves, or even knowing they are good, but they don't show it, or are afraid to step up and maybe take a bigger role, or to trust in their knowing and in their power to move on, or to jump another step. I don't know if this phrase makes sense. But
it's like become your most powerful, fearless, feminine self in 90 days.
that would be another way of saying it. Yeah.
Does that seem accurate?
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, I would
A bit
say
of fearless. Okay, I want you to sit with that as maybe your hook. Proposed new hook. Did you do the avatar immersion exercise?
I haven't finished it. I'm in the middle, and some ideas are.
I'm gonna. Okay, so I just dropped this into your document as your proposed new hook. Maybe fearless stays in, maybe it doesn't. Maybe feminine stays in, maybe it doesn't. I like powerful and feminine though, because I do think ladies become your most powerful self in 90 days is different than become your most powerful feminine self in 90 days. I think those are two different things. Do your avatar exercise, and then let's come. Don't work on rewriting any of this yet. Anything else about this yet? Do the avatar exercise, and then we'll roll into next week writing the video script. Okay? Okay, great. Okay, we're doing it, guys. Let's go. I have another call that I'm late to. I love you. And I will see you with a video about what we're doing next week. It'll probably not be Monday. It'll probably be Tuesday. Okay? All right. I love you. See you soon.
Hi.
Hello.